Right then, this is a quick walk around video from absolutely lovely CRV. This is a 2 litre ES manual, 2011 car, capped at just 42, 43, one or the other, I'll check in a second. Very low mileage basically. Just 2 owners from new, with a wonderful service history. I think it's 11 Honda services. It is incredibly clean as well for the age and mileage. Not to say it's like new, because it isn't, but it is beautiful. Come around the front of the car, lights and lenses are clear and intact, there's no cracks or condensation in them. Bonnet, I can't see a stone chip of any note on it at all. Okay, incredibly clean. Coming down the near side first, looking for kind of indentations, and I can't really see anything at all. It's absolutely beautifully clean. Near side front alloy, generally very good. Any curbing is incredibly light, and for a car of its age, remarkably clean. So near side rear alloy, absolutely unmarked. Coming the back, yes, such a clean example. The off side of the car, driver's side, again beautifully smooth, and the panel work, no sort of car parking dinks. This sort of belies the age of the vehicle. Off side rear alloy, again completely unmarked. Likewise, alloy on the front there, again beautiful condition. The only thing I can see on that car, you can see a little bit of tape on the little light reflector and the ring mirror there. You can buy those off eBay for about £20–30, so it's hardly the biggest deal in the world. But the whole point of the video is to pick up on what I can and where I can. But that, it's pretty much the sum total of anything I can clearly see on the car. There will be the odd tiny little touch of the mark somewhere, but that is beautiful. Coming to the back of the car now, lovely to see the full complement of equipment, tonneau cover, rear shelf or middle shelf. It's so clean that even the original blue protecting plastic is still on the chrome parts there. I mean, that's just remarkable. Coming to the back of the car now, enormous amounts of legroom, absolutely incredible. Half leather interior with the Alcantara, and again in the back of the CRVs, this is where the kids sit, and generally means that they are absolutely annihilated, and yet this one's been kept simply beautifully. Come to the front on the passenger side, again lovely and clean. Passenger seat there been given absolutely minimal use. Finally coming on the driver's side, again door card beautifully clean, footwell areas again really nice, and the driver's seat itself again in super condition. Inside the car now, engine's running as they always have, so the dash can be seen illuminated. Dashboard is in beautiful condition. Come up to the main dash binnacle and pan in there for you. Hopefully you can see 43,000, there we are, 43,345 miles, and the only warning light is for low fuel. The information light goes out once that has a bit of extra fuel's been popped in. But yeah, it's a lovely car. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CRV, and it's a 2 litre ES manual. This car is registered FD11PZM and has a wonderful mileage of just 48,336 recorded. The reason we do all of these videos, by the way, and especially this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see the very car advertised actually in operation. And the reason we feel it's important is because, like, lots of people who've been to see cars which looked absolutely fine and dandy in photographs, but only to find out when you get there it's got an obvious fault that shows up as soon as you drive the car. So hence that's why we do it. Also done on these very quiet country roads, very close to our premises. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on. The reason being is that we hope it will be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, as you know from the advert, it's been unbelievably well looked after by Honda, and you know, at risk of being a spoiler for the rest of the video, it drives faultlessly. I mean, literally, you can just end the video there. It just ridiculous. It drives, I hate saying it because it's such a cliche for the used car trade, but it does drive like new. It's unbelievable. It's just so tight. But I am going to persist, and I'm going to go through all the things I always go through, starting with the engine, which starts instantly, settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all related to the engine or any other part of the car. Only a low fuel light currently on, and temperature gauge running as a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. The engines are superb. I say it over and over and over again, but because it's true, Honda build the best four-cylinder engines in the world, and there's no doubt about it. Because it's not only about reliability, because it is, without, again, by country mile, the most reliable and long-lasting engine in its class. They're cam chain driven, there's no cam belts on them, but they got an incredible reputation for reliability with just good regular maintenance. But on top of which, it's just joyful to use. It's smooth, it's quiet, it's refined, it's economical, it's flexible, it's docile, it's just all the elements you want out of an engine, all in one package. It is genius, this engine, absolute genius. They are lovely units. The engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox of the car. Clutch for the car, as you'd expect with the mileage, absolutely spot on, smooth and positive, bite point exactly where it's meant to be. Gearbox in the car, Honda work very, very, very hard to make sure that all of its controls have a lovely tactile feel and a feeling of engineered quality into them. And I mean every single switch and button you press, so all the pedals, throttle, brake, clutch, the steering wheel, all the buttons, all feel beautifully engineered. And the one that sort of stands out to me has always been the gearboxes in Hondas. First and foremost, gear lever mounted nice and high up, but unlike so many gearboxes in this class of car, which tend to give you kind of long, clumsy, clonky gear changes, this could happily sit, I always say it, but it could genuinely just sit in any of Honda's more sporty cars. It's got a lovely short throw to the gear change. It's got a sort of a snick, satisfying action as you sort of go in through the gears, and I'm just doing it for fun, I don't need to change gear now. But it's just a really satisfying gearbox to use. It's one you enjoy using rather than feeling as though you obviously have to use it. And that feels exactly like new. There's just zero wear in it at all. So coming to the steering of the car, which first and foremost tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. But Honda have been building this type of vehicle for donkey's years, and have been for many years the best-selling car in the world of this type. And it's easy to see why, because it drives like a really lovely car. It doesn't feel like a big four-wheel drive SUV, whereas a lot of its competitors do. They feel clumsy, wallow about, lifeless, aimless steering. This has got real nice weight to the steering. It makes you feel really confident on the road. But when you turn into the corners, it's really accurate. You don't have to turn the wheel very much. The gearing's really nice on it. And it works in conjunction with the chassis absolutely brilliantly. And as I always say, don't be mistaken for thinking this is a sports car, because it is not. And this is where I always take umbrage with kind of the motoring journalists and video people, because they say, it's a bit dull, it's a bit this. It's not particularly exciting, but it's lovely to drive, and it is designed to do what it's designed to do, which is to ferry you and your passengers along in comfort, safely, but in a composed manner. Because what it gives you is a really compliant, well-judged ride. Because comfort is a really subjective thing. Some people go for kind of the French, wallowy, soft, comfortable ride that gets rid of virtually all imperfections, only to get to a corner and the thing just keels over and it lollops about with lots of body motion. The problem with that is, particularly for rear seat passengers, is they tend not to be looking at out the windows at Mother Nature, but their head's stuck in a phone generally most of the time, and it can be incredibly nauseating. Whereas the body control is brilliantly done. So when you go through bends, no, it's not sporty, but what it is brilliantly controlled. So what it does absolutely perfectly. There's also, by the way, absolutely no clonks, rattles, anything from underneath the car that shouldn't be there. Brakes on the car, really good brake pedal on the vehicle. I'm not going to slam them too hard, I've got a chap behind me, but they are absolutely spot on. But all that stuff's going to be checked as a matter of course, because it'll be going through a independent MOT prior to sale. But finally, coming inside the car, again, you've got typical Honda build quality, which one of my other regular rants on video is about build quality. Some people seem to think the build quality is to do with squidgy plastics and heavy, thunky sounding doors. It isn't. It's nothing to do with that. Build quality is all to do with how it's assembled, how it's put together, how it lasts, how durable it is. And this is where these are in a class of their own. Maybe the RAV4 will be similar, I suppose. But I know it's low mileage, but it is now 12 years old. Not a squeak, not a buzz, not a creak, nothing from the interior. The plastics, which you can say they're hard, and they are. And that's what when you watch these videos, you go, oh, look at this plastic, hard plastics, rubbish. No, because basically these are family cars. So when you hit the brakes and the kids begged you to go to McDonald's and have that massive Coca-Cola or milkshake that's brimmed to the top, and you hit the brakes and it splashes all over the dashboard, you can wipe it all clean. It's resilient, it's tough, it's designed with family use in mind, and fantastic for that. It's also a brilliant interior for driving a car. Perfect driving position, fantastic visibility all around, helped by these massive wing mirrors which help you with lane changes. An incredibly simple dash to sit and operate, joyfully so by modern standards. Nice, simple, easy to use radio, dual zone climate control, so you have different temperatures side to side. Pumps out lovely cold air, because we tried that in a nice warm workshop earlier on. Heated seats again, working exactly as they should. Beautifully presented dash binnacle in front. Honda always do this brilliantly well, and that's taken as read. And then this lovely leather-bound steering wheel. The only button you won't see in a four-wheel drive CR-V is a four-wheel drive button, because basically Honda worked out that most people will be doing it, as I am right now, driving where you don't need four-wheel drive on. So basically it runs in front-wheel drive, two-wheel drive the whole time, and that's the most efficient way to pull a car along. Should it need to go into four-wheel drive, it'll do so itself and seamlessly, and it does it via the traction control system of the car, which can react far more quickly than you. So basically, if you pulled away on a bit of snow, ice or mud, or it just brings in the rear wheel drive, all by magic almost. You don't really feel it, it just engages. You suddenly find you've got grip where you didn't expect it or didn't have any, and gets you out and turns itself off when it needs to, pretty much straight away. It's a wonderful system, incredibly reliable, probably through its lack of use. It also means you tend to use less fuel, you get through your tyres less quickly than with a conventional permanent four-wheel drive system. It's just genius, it really is. As I said at the start of the video, it drives sensationally, this car, and it's a reminder of why they are so sought after. They aren't cheap, but there's a good reason they're not cheap. It's because they're better than anything else in their class when they get to this kind of age. Most cars feel their age and feel a bit old and clunky to drive. This doesn't, and that's exactly why they hold their value.